507, and that is E90 M3. Starting off with the design of this car, when this generation M3 came out, it was the craziest because this was the first and last time BMW put a V8 engine inside it. So you can actually see here with the hood bulge commenting the V8 of how big it is, which you'll see in a little bit. You can see with the wide arches right here with the fenders. You can also see the side skirts, and of course in BMW fashion it has to have M mirrors as well. But you can clearly see how much more different this was than something like a 335i or much of the rest of the BMW catalog at that time. And while you can see the 4 real exhaust pipes, well, I shouldn't really say that because BMW still does amazing exhaust pipes to this very day. And the general design of this car is kind of clean. You know, if you were to remove the exhaust, just squint it in a bit, it would really look like a regular 3 Series. Unlike now with the gigantic nose grills, which I still don't like to this day. This was a really beautiful car. It still is stunning to this day. Onto the C63 507 edition, you can kind of see how different it was. So it had 2 vents over here. It also had different wheels and different brakes than the standard C63. And while with this generation, they never really made a lot of them because it was nearing the end of production line around 2011, 2012. And by then, the new C model was coming out. And of course, there was gonna have to be a new C63. And if I still look at the design of this car, it's amazing. It's not too much in your face. It's just right. It's not screaming at you saying like I am a performance AMG. It's just that bit of Germanness that says I know I have all this power under the hood, but don't try me. Okay guys, we are now at the powerhouse of the E90 generation M3. This came with a 4.4 litre naturally aspirated V8, and as Eugene said, this was the first and last V8 in an M3 specifically. BMW does have V8s now in the moderns, but this had 414 horsepower, 400 newton meters torque, and an auto 100 around 4.5 seconds. That is claimed, and so obviously if you have some sticky tires and a prep surface, it will do that, even sub. But on a general road, the tires will spin. It is rear wheel drive biased, and so let's head on to the C63 507 edition and see what's under the hood there. So coming now to the Merc, which is slightly newer than the BMW, as this was released after the RS4 was delayed or gone out of production. This comes with a 6.3 litre, and I put that in inverted commas because it actually is a 6.2018 litre, but Germans oftentimes increase the numbers to make it sound bigger. So in this 6.3 litre V8, being the 507 edition, you have 507 horsepower, 610 newton meters of handmade engineering underneath this monster. That is one thing I do prefer about this car, is that the AMG engines from this generation were all pure handmade, hand-built, hand-assembled in the AMG factory by certified AMG engineers. So out of both engines, this one has more power, although this one seems a bit quicker, but that is due to the weight of that car. That car is lighter than this car, and so actually in terms of power to weight, it's quite equal. Okay guys, we are now sat in the absolute animal of a Mercedes-Benz, the 507 C63. And I must say, just off the bat, we will get to the M3 now in the interior view, but these seats absolutely hug you in. I mean, if you're bigger than me, which isn't hard to do for the average big size male, these seats might not be the most comfortable, but for me they're absolutely perfect. They're snug, they hold you in, you feel like you are in a performance car. You feel like you aren't going to get thrown around when driving this hard, around corners, in twisty bends, on the track, wherever you might please to do. And overall it is very, very comfortable in here. Obviously this is an older generation Mercedes, and Mercedes still being Mercedes, everything is finished top tier. You've got a soft touch all along the dash, all along the sides here as well, with a leather finishing around there, leather on the steering wheel with your red stitching. And then again, the seats, they are quite plain, there's nothing too exciting about them, but they are very solid. You've got your AMG embroidering inside of here, and obviously your leather stitched finish. Everything is just really, really nice. You've got the really nice crown on the AMG shifter over here, as well as, if you look on the side here, an AMG badge to tell you that this is the 507 edition. So overall inside this car, it is just a C-Class in a sense, which is nothing to bash on Mercedes. A C-Class is still a wonderful experience to be in, especially these generations. Back in the days where Mercedes used obsolete amounts of leather and upper class materials, and there wasn't so many plastics. Like if you look in this car, there's just a bit of plastic there and a little bit over here, but majority of it is all leather, soft touch,
or a gloss black, piano black material. So let's head to the M3 and see what it's like.
And now we're here on the front of the BMW M3, and one thing I can very easily say is that this is a lot more simple and more subtle than the AMG C63. Especially since you only have about 3 different M badges. You have one over here, you have one in the gauge cluster over here, and then you have another one on the steering wheel. The only thing that maybe can tell you that it is a BMW M car is the fact that you have the M colored stitching. Other than that, it's not shouty at all. It looks like a normal regular 3 Series sedan. Of course, you do have slightly more sportier seating. It's not quite as sporty or bucket seat like as the C63 edition 507, but it's a lot more comfortable, weirdly enough. Normally you have a case of the BMW being a lot less comfortable than the Mercedes, but in this case it's a little bit more comfortable. The Mercedes does feel a lot more sporty. In that respect though, this is a lot more sporty in the fact that it's a lot easier, it's a lot more simple. You know, you don't have as many distractions. You're focusing on the road, you're focusing on driving, and that's it. I mean, it doesn't even have the option of the infotainment system, and that was available in this car. You would have just a big infotainment system over here. This car doesn't have that, and the fact that it was an option back then says a lot about what BMW wanted. They wanted to give you a driver-focused experience, and well, this certainly is the case.
Sitting in the passenger side now, I'm here just to reiterate a bit more about the interior of the two cars. So starting off, they both do come with a sunroof, which obviously on a beautiful day like this is absolutely amazing to have. And then heading to the seats quickly, there is a slight M embroidering on the seat, as subtle, if not even more subtle than that of the one in the AMG, which really goes to show, in conclusion, when you're looking at the seats, the headrest, the amount of M badging or stitching or colors inside of the car, that back in these days it was a lot more subtle, a lot more simple for these top-end cars from the luxury brands of Germany to be a lot more simple inside. These days there's red stitching, blue stitching, a lot of shouty colors, all the different leather options, M badges all over, AMG badge all over, to show everyone that you have an M on AMG. Whereas back in these days I feel it was a lot more driver focused rather than almost ego orientated, or how other people view you as a person or as a driver, which these days a lot of M drivers are definitely in that sense. They are the upscale golf drivers that shout, let everyone know I have an M car and everyone know I have an AMG car, whereas these really were driver focused. As you can see from the materials again, this is all soft tops, all of this is leather. There's a bit more plastic around here than what there is in the AMG, but at the same time it is all good quality. It's nothing cheap feeling. Everything's very simple, everything's very sophisticated in a way, if you were to say as well. And then just to touch on the back seats of the car, we were driving in them, and driving in the back seats are more comfortable in the M3 than they are in the C63, but the front seats are definitely more sporty, as we said, in the C63 than the M car here. So I feel like if I'm driving on track in twisty roads, I'd like to be in the front seat of the C63. But being a passenger, weirdly enough, as Letu said, the M3 is more comfortable, unless it comes to upshifting quite fast, where this gearbox gives you a big kick in the backside as it shifts forward and the car tries to gain some traction. So that gearbox is slightly smoother, but this is more exhilarating. It gives you a bit more emotion.
Come to the conclusion of this amazing review. What do we think? Personally, I'm a BMW guy. I'm gonna take the E90 M3 all day because number one, it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, and plus this is the last V8 M3 ever made. But it's a hard pick because with the 507 edition, it's crazy, it's more rare, and it's just faster and more powerful. But actually, let us know down below, which one would you pick? Would you pick the 507 edition C63 or the E90 M3? So I just wanted to say a massive thank you to the guys at the Auto Agents for allowing us to do this review. Also, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and well, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.